Hey guys, it's Jeremy Sullivan here. I'm here on Team No Lift. It's August 2nd, 2019, and today's actually my first YouTube video. The reason I'm making this video is I'm in the middle of a 2RZ swap on this 1984 Toyota pickup. I bought this pickup for my girlfriend. She rolled her last one, wanted to build her something a little more practical, so we got the extended cab. So I'm in the middle of this 2RZ swap, and you know, like anybody else, I have on YouTube, see if I can find any pointers, you know, anything to help me out with the swap. I had a real hard time finding anything on it, so I figured, you know, what the hell, I'll just make my own video, post it up there, and maybe help out some of you guys. So here's where I'm at so far. I bought a 96 two-wheel drive Tacoma for 500 bucks, pulled the motor out of it, pulled the motor out of this truck and sold it for 500 bucks, and I sold the Tacoma for 400 bucks. Is that money? I bought some Chill Cat motor mounts. I don't know if you can see them in there. And I also got the rear sump oil pan. So with the oil pan on there, it clears the front axle kinda. And I got the motor mount, so I was able to just drop it in. I also had to pick up a 5-speed bell housing to mate it to the ZF 5-speed that comes in the truck factory. So I bought the bell housing, new slave cylinder, new clutch, motor mounts, oil pan, motor dropped right in. So here's where I'm at now. Now it's the hard part. It's trying to get everything hooked up, all the little shit. So I lucked out with the power steering. You can see here, this is the 2RZ power steering pump. I took out the reservoir, the factory reservoir for the old power steering pump, and the line's hooked right up. So that worked out. Make sure when you pull the motor out, you keep the plug for the alternator. So I have the plug in there for the alternator. I need to, here's the factory 84 plug. So I'm gonna cut that plug off, solder that plug on, and shrink wrap it, make sure everything's nice. Since this was a factory carbureted truck, it didn't have a wiring harness. So I went inside, I took the dash out, and I found right here is where the AC lines are supposed to go through. I have a nice little opening right here. So I'm gonna hole saw this out. I'm gonna shove these wires through the firewall, and I'm gonna bolt this little cap plug to the firewall right here. So it should look pretty clean, pretty factory. That's what I'm going for. Also, since this was a carbureted truck, it's pretty simple. So the starter is actually on the opposite side on these RZ motors. So I'm gonna move the battery to the driver's side of the truck. I'm gonna build a custom battery box. Over here, where the battery was, I'm gonna run the factory intake, kind of give it that clean look. I got the factory radiator. The hoses seem to work off the RZ. I'm gonna just throw an electric fan on it, keep it simple. Heater core lines. This is the RZ line I kept on the motor. I hope right up to the factory spot. This is the heater core line off the 84. It's a little bit longer, so I was able to wrap it down and back behind without kinking it. Heater core lines are pretty simple. The other big thing is, since this was a carbureted truck and I'm putting a fuel injected motor, it does not have a high pressure fuel pump in it. So I went and I picked up a 22RE truck fuel tank out of a second gen. I guess there's like 100 different fuel tanks, so it's got to be basically for your truck. If you don't know, ask somebody who does. Single cab was different, 4Runner was different, everything was different. So I found one, so I got to pull the tank out of here. I'm going to swap the RE tank into here with the fuel pump. I'm just going to run it to ignition, power on, run the ground back there by the tank. It has hard lines ran from the tank already, so I'm going to run the fuel pump from the tank to the factory hard line. I actually went underneath the truck. The fuel lines came up right here, and I went underneath the truck. I undid them, and I bent them up and around the transmission, so now the hard lines will come out here. I need to clean it up a little bit, bolt it in place. I'll try to get some pictures and images of that later. So I'll have my fuel lines on this side and my exhaust on this side. So I'm trading the exhaust and the fuel lines, so there's no fires. I've had problems with that before. So yeah, fuel lines should be pretty easy. And then the fun part, wiring up the ECU, should be pretty basic. The dash only has a speedometer basically. So if you look here, you've got speedometer, fuel gauge, And I got an aftermarket temp gauge, so it just has to run. I don't need to wire up any gauges. So if you're looking at how to wire that kind of stuff up, it's probably ain't the video for you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll try to post more videos as the build progresses. Once the RZ swap's done, I move on to the suspension. My girlfriend, she's in the Air Force. She's over in Japan right now for 2 weeks, so I'm trying to get this truck finished up before she gets back, so you know she can at least drive it. So I bought, onto the rest of it, soon to come. I bought a Dodge Kingpin 60 front axle. I got links up there. I got coilovers. I got a 14 bolt rear. 14 bolt is going on the rear on this thing. Doing custom bumper front and rear. I think we're gonna go with some 42-inch IROCs. I happen to have a set of 42s on my truck. I stepped up to some 49s, so I'm gonna give her the 42s. Brand new, pretty good tread, and should be a pretty sweet truck when we're done. Considering maybe turboing it, not sure. At this point, I'm just rambling on, but should look a little bit like this when she's done. Got the 42s there. Got the turbo right there. So we're gonna be twins. So subscribe, follow. I'll try to post some helpful stuff. Also, like I said, today's August 2nd, Friday. I'm heading down to SIO here in a few minutes. SIO has the off-road Northwest Rage event. They got some of the most badass trucks around. They're all gonna be down in SIO, and they're gonna be competing and racing. I got a buddy down there racing, so I'll try to take some as many videos of that as I can and post them up, and you know, share some of my experiences with you guys. So thanks, and have a great day.